This is required watching, where we watch the essential films from lists of cinematic influencers and look at them through the lens of learning about filmmaking and how to move forward. I'm your host, Trey Epps, and today, today, today we're talking about a film that, you know, covers a tribe called Dahomey in the 18th and 19th century in Africa. Um, it's starring, or excuse me, it's directed by Gina Prince Bythewood. I'm saying that right. Written actually by Dana Stevens, starring, excuse me. This is one of those occasions where I want to make sure I'm getting all of the names right. Viola Davis, Shauna Lynch, Sheila Atem, Fuso Bedu, I don't. I'm sorry, John Boyega. Um, damn, all the women, because this movie is The Woman King.
And I think the reason why the Woman King is important is because it's historical and it's real. And, you know, this is absolutely no disrespect to those projects. They serve a different purpose, which is equally as important. But to know that we're not just a fantasy and that we are a reality is extremely, extremely important. And that's what, you know, Gina spoke about. That's what all of us at some point in this, you know, in the press have spoken about, the humanization of us, the understanding that not only is it possible, but it was possible. It happened.
I have been very hesitant about reviewing this movie, despite it being one of my favorite movies of 2022. But I could not be quiet about it any longer. In fact, I think movies like this should be amplified. I've had a really hard time grappling with the fall of Will Smith, and I promise this is going somewhere. But before that, I swore off slave movies. Since 12 Years a Slave, there seems to be an abundance of films that are meant to be like these big epic films meant to tell really great stories of Africans or Black Americans, and they all fall flat, mainly because people just don't care about slave films. Black people specifically know the history, and white people either feel like they want to ignore the historical events or feel guilty about it. But when I heard about The Woman King, I knew two things: that Viola Davis was in it, and that she trained like an absolute badass. I mean, look at her social media posts, and that the uh sorry, I feel like I'm gonna get this wrong. Is it um hold on. I want to call them, there we go, the Agogier. I've been saying it properly in my head for so much time that I started to confuse them with the Black Panther tribe. So I wanted to make sure I got it right. But that was the second thing I know. I knew that the Agogier inspired the I forget what they even called now, the women in Black Panther, and this was absolutely all that I needed. And it wasn't until a week before that I even knew John Boyega was in it. I literally thought that this was about a kingdom or a tribe where women ruled, and that was enough to get me in the seats, legitimately. But I saw John Boyega on like Graham Norton or something like that, and I was like, oh, this is tight. I usually watch I usually watch one trailer of a movie and decide to watch it, and I don't do any research after that because I want to know as little as possible. And then I try to read reviews afterwards to see what other people think. But hey, I have you guys now. Watching this film, I felt so proud to be Black. To know that we had a life before slavery. To know that it wasn't just mud huts and flies and you know those infomercials that you see late at night, that we're royalty, and they went beyond coming to America or like the negative bits of email scams. That we weren't just all Somali pirates or whatever. This film spoke to my bones, and it felt like the ancestors were speaking to me, and that's what movies are meant to do. And I think that's what this movie did for me. It spoke to me, um, and despite again, a wonderful example. I just want to point out that this was not written by a Black woman. It wasn't, and that's okay. It's okay. Um, it's more than just seeing myself on screen, but more really understanding other aspects of not only who I am but who my people were. It's so important. And it's an important distinction. It's the reason Reservation Dogs is so popular. We don't get to see Native Americans in a traditional way that we think about them, or like freaking pilgrims in Thanksgiving. Like that's bullshit. Excuse my language. Seeing ourselves on screen doing more and being normal is incredible. And I'm so happy Native Americans are able to get that with Reservation Dogs, which I recently just binged a second series. But to be able to get a movie like The Woman King that shows me so much more of my people, is again incredible. I'm not a woman. I'm not 100% full blood African either. But these are my people. The same way that a lot of people of color are still my people. It's wonderful to see. Anyways, um, again, I think the specific, again, talking about how the writer is white, the specificity of this particular film is shows you how universal, and completely how people get it and how it can be received, because of that specificity. Anyways, I walked away from the film wondering who wrote this. Yes, yes, and I didn't care. I didn't care that the writer was white. I didn't care. I know Gina's work. I know the people in front of the camera. I know the subject matter, and that felt important. It felt authentic. It felt like someone who knew what they were talking about and were able to write these characters appropriately. And that's what matters as a writer. And even if the roles were reversed, and it was a white director and uh, a black writer, I think that's also important. It's okay. We'll all get there in the end. I've never said that only one race can write for that race, but I think that people often say things like this or make comments like this, and it's important to know what we are talking about when we say things like this. Um, um, I listen. I'm just gonna gush. I love everyone in this movie. I love just how strong these women are. I love just how passionate they are. But more importantly, I really love the actors in this film. I walked away looking up everyone that I could and wanting to devour everything that they were in. Lashana Lynch has been on the rise for I don't know how long now, and it feels like the woman just can't lose. Even with Matilda, that I think initially wasn't getting as much respect as it ended up getting. Um, it just seems like this woman is just picking these golden goose eggs, left, right, and center, and just beyond her incredible talent, not even beyond her incredible talent, like just with her incredible talent. I cannot wait to see what she comes up with next. I can't wait to see her face. I am on board with Lashana Lynch, period. Viola Davis, the legend, the icon. There's nothing more to say about that. But watching all of these other actresses, um, watching all of these other actors have their moments to shine. Like each and every one of our main cast had moments to shine, and even the I don't know her character name or even her actor name, but the our protagonist that we're kind of watching go through the tribe and become this warrior. She had that friend. Even watching that friend, I forget her name. Even having that watching that friend have her moments is such a small piece of the movie, but so important. I really think they allowed all of these characters to shine and have their moments, and it was an ensemble and it was all of this, but it shifted. It actually, you know what? It reminded me of like these Indian films where, like, these mythological films where we're watching these communities, these people rise up or be kind of subjected to an unfair ruler or whatever that is, and yet everyone has like their pocket of story that whether or not it's contained with the main story is completely different. But in this movie, it was like these little golden moments that allowed for the world to really breathe and the world to expand. Um, so it was really great to see everyone really, really shine. Anyways, I'm going on and blathering on about things that probably don't make sense, but these actresses were just great. And yeah, I will end by saying this: is this movie required? Yes. I haven't read the script, but I know it's available, so I'll end up reading that. I'll end up rewatching this film. I'll end up trying to write something for Lashana Lynch to be in. To be perfectly honest, I think she's a beautiful talent. I think all of these actresses are a beautiful talent. Um, are beautiful talents, and I think it's important to make sure that people that aren't white get opportunities to make films that are both big and small. Look at our director, who I will quote Love and Basketball, and it, what before this it was like the old guard, and now she's here. So like it's I don't from her, what I read what I've seen about her interviews, it wasn't an easy road. It still isn't an easy road. Making this movie wasn't an easy road, even despite the old guard and its success through the pandemic. And I'm just happy that people, despite the challenges of this industry, are able to continue fighting for their craft and fighting for their work and making it happen. Um, and I really really hope that she continues her success, and the people behind this film, and of course in front of the camera, are able to continue with this mindset to make more films like this. Not necessarily black films, not necessarily anything like that, but like movies that speak to them and speak to their soul, and aren't. I love a good fluff. I love a good fluff film, and that's not me getting down on it, but I do think there's a lot of fluff, and I think movies like this deserve to be seen and deserve to be enjoyed and deserve to be uh, savored. So, with that said, we're Quiet Watching is a film club, and we love to watch films here. And I would love to know what you think on The Woman King, and let me know if you have any differing thoughts, anything that I've missed, if you've seen any other movies that you think should be in the conversation of the Oscars or any kind of big award ceremony. And let's continue to talk about it. So, until next time, thank you very much. Peace.